content creator advice from a nobody. So, I've been creating content for a long time now. I've been blogging for a long time now, but I've never hit significant traction. I just always like to write and express myself. Sure, I've had an article or two get some more attention, but overall, I don't think I ever stuck to it or went deep into it long enough to get that traction. And I want to talk about the struggles of the content creator journey and some mental models that have helped me stay on the path because every time I think about it, it is what I want to do in my free time. If I retire, I'd still want to just write and share my thoughts and create content. So I went through this long journey of like wanting to do content more as a externally oriented goal, like, oh, this would be a cool lifestyle, this would be um, a great way to make money or as a side hustle. But I keep coming back to, no, I think this is part of who I am. And so these are some of the things that I tell myself to help me stay locked in and double down and continue on the path and continue experimenting. And the first piece of advice, if I could even call it that, is that for me, content creation has actually become a spiritual journey and to consider it as such. And that's because it makes me confront my ego like crazy. Like when I'm trying to put together content, I constantly have questions like, is this idea stupid? Am I wasting my time? Um, if I put this out there, would it make me look dumb? Shouldn't I be doing something that is more likely to get likes and subscribers? Trying to fit in with like whatever I think is the mold or is the popular trending thing at the time. And and the base underlying fear behind all this is basically, am I good enough? There's a lot of shiny objects that I face as a content creator, and let me know if this is something that resonates. But as a form of procrastination, I'll let myself be distracted by these surface level questions like, which AI tool should I use to repurpose my content, or what what platform should I post on? I just created this one thing. Maybe I should post on like 10 other platforms because content repurposing is like a thing now and there's tools for that. So all those surface level things, um, they really distract me from facing the core fear that is stopping me from creating more and more consistently. And that is just, am I enough? Am I enough? Am I good enough? Am I going to look stupid? All ego things, all things that challenge my ego. So if you're a newer content creator or you don't have a big following yet, like me, here are a few truths that I try to come back to. The first one is that being a nobody is actually an advantage. And that's because when no one knows you, you have the freedom to experiment and there's less opportunity cost, right? Like, let's say that you're the mayor of a city or that you're a celebrity. You've now created a brand and there's people on your payroll who are depending on you to say certain things and present yourself in a certain way where the pressure can be much higher for that person to self express or change something about themselves. When you're a nobody, literally nobody cares. You could, you know, be in one niche one day and another niche another day. It doesn't really matter because like who's really going to be harmed from that? So not having a large audience is actually the best time to experiment and really build this muscle of just posting whatever the hell you want to post. So there is a freedom that comes with being a nobody. And the second truth is that the only mistake you can make is not allowing yourself to not make mistakes. I'm so afraid of making mistakes, and those mistakes are often social in nature for me. Like, I put out a lot of finance videos because I love talking about personal finance, and I constantly worry, like, oh, what if I like reference a figure or study wrong? What if someone's like, no, Oz, like, you fucked up, which is pretty rare because I don't have a large audience. And if they actually did that, that's engagement. I would actually be like, when I think about that, if I get to the level where I'm getting comments like that, that's probably a good thing, actually, in terms of like, you know, people actually wanting to engage with my content. So, I'm trying to reframe mistakes as like, mistakes are necessary. Um, Especially being a beginner content creator, you're supposed to make mistakes. Mistakes could be the way that you edit or don't edit. Maybe your audio is kind of off. Maybe your, just like content is not resonating. Those are all like good mistakes to make because no one really develops their flow and identity as a creator without making those mistakes. So I try to remember that it's okay to make mistakes. Actually, like, try to learn from your mistakes. And I'm also trying to remember that social media is a double-edged sword, meaning that on one hand, people can use social media to gain a lot of traction, blow up, grow their audience. But the other edge of the sword is that also social media makes us all have the attention of a goldfish. And that means that what might be in your mind that you're so afraid to post. No, I should switch to I. Things that I'm really afraid to post, right? I try to remind myself like this is just literally one blip on someone's feed, and then they might forget about it. They're gonna move on to the next thing, and we're all living these full lives in our everyday lives, right? And so when you think about your end consumer of your content, it's very likely that they're just going to see this, short little blip on their timeline or feed. And yes, they might react to it in that moment, but also find some freedom in realizing, hey, like you are just one message out of thousands or maybe even millions subliminally that someone is getting every day. So that also makes the stakes lower. Oh, by the way, coming back to the truth about making mistakes is that making mistakes is very cheap, as in your mistakes in content creation are not very costly unless you're trying to do something like really wild or obscene. That's for other content creators. But what I mean is that like, look, we're not doing open heart surgery over here. Um, I'm very close to people who are in the medical field, and their jobs are literally like life or death. And I'm like, content creation is like so not costly compared to that. All you have to do is like confront your own ego and just like post a damn thing. Um, okay, so another truth is to remember that you are the niche. Um, there's so much content about like that's more so coming from like the business world, and that is like you gotta identify a niche and an audience and a target audience and like hit these messages over and over again. And a lot of that is good advice, but it really depends on your goal. And if your goal is to creatively self-express and stay in the game long term as a creator, um, I do think that it could be actually a little bit dangerous to just only expose yourself to like good business advice, because that is a different goal, which is like grow, grow, grow your business at all costs type of mentality. And and I'm coming back to one of the most popular pieces of advice, like business advice for content creators, is like you have to pick a niche. You have to like be ultra niche. and the riches are in the niches, as they say, right? And I'm not arguing with that, but I'm also making space for saying that that's not the only way to be a content creator. Like, content creation is a very can be a very free, independent, self-directed activity. And so just remember that you are the niche, because the message that comes out of one person's mouth is very different from what comes out of Neil, de- Neil deGrasse Tyson's mouth, right? Just by the way that you ingest content and then how you then process it and then how you communicate it out, that is in itself unique, even if the message might be the same. So you are the niche because you have your own set of experiences that really help you deliver something unique. And I would say, really, the only advice in the beginning for beginner content creators, something definitely that I face, is be careful of the type of advice that you get. And really, the only actionable type of advice you need is not some weird hack or tool, or you have to pay thousands of dollars to join some content creator program. The only advice you need is to keep going. You know, like, I've seen so many creators, myself included, get this type of advice, like, they start making stuff and then they have well-meaning friends who are like, hey, your video, like, there's this other creator who I watch who has like 1 million subscribers and they do this. That is not the right advice for that person at their stage of the content creator journey. The only advice I have typically when I meet other content creators is like, man, like, good stuff. Just keep going. I look forward to seeing you publish more. That's it. Just getting more reps in. So earlier I hinted at the difference between business goals and content creator goals. And this, I'll end with this. I'll end the video on this section. And I think this is another concept that's helped me as a nobody content creator. So business metrics are things like views, followers. These are like outputs. These are like output goals, as they say in the goal literature. And yes, people can do successfully based on their motivations for creating content by measuring themselves in that way. How many followers did I get? How many views did I get? How many video? However, I realized that having more internally oriented goals, and what I call them are creator goals, that is helping me stay in the game more. And creator goals are framed in such a way, which is to ask myself, what kind of creator do I want to be over time? How do I want to grow as a creator? So, for example, one of my creator goals is to just feel more comfortable talking to the camera. I want to be able to just like riff more and be less polished and be more raw and allow myself to be more raw. So there's like a emotional value and skill that I'll get out of being a creator. And that's one of my creator goals. Another one of my creator goals is to just do things that are in my realm of control, like post once a week. And if I just focus on that, then I don't have to focus on things like how many views might I get, or how many likes or whatever, right? If I just internally focus on like, hey, what feels good for me to put out? And for me right now, it's putting out something once a week, because there's something about that cadence that makes me feel connected to the craft and connected to the community that I might want to reach. So I would really encourage you to, if you're a newer content creator, to think about your own growth as a content creator and how you want to grow that way, versus only having business oriented goals, which can create a lot of pressure and might make the game less fun for you. So I feel like I'm in a season of coming back to making more content, and I've just had so many fears and thoughts about even posting something like this, like posting something that isn't in my normal niche of personal finance and psychology. And I want to keep meeting that edge more and more. There's so many things I want to talk about that are, I feel like just like poetry or art or just like philosophy that wants to come out of my mind and heart around relationships, dating, personal finances, even. And I just want to broaden the scope to really create an environment where I feel alive to show up as a content creator. So there you have it, content creator advice from a nobody. I hope that if you are newer to the content game, that there's something here that resonates with you.